Right. So today we're diving deep into, two of the biggest names when it comes to German cars
Yeah.
and just luxury cars in general. We're talking BMW
Oh, yeah.
and Porsche.
Two heavy hitters.
They've got a whole stack of recent reviews and comparisons head to head. Looking at their 2025 and 2026 models, everything from executive sedans to, their iconic sports cars.
Yeah.
And
Trying to suss out.
really our mission here is to figure out
Makes them different.
what are the real differences that matter to, drivers out there in the market. So, everyone knows BMW, the ultimate drive machine.
Right.
They're all about performance,
Yeah.
luxury, and tech, really across a huge range of cars.
We have a lineup.
And then you've got Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
They came from this place of
Pure sports cars.
sports car dominance, and now they're kind of taking that DNA and
Expanding
spreading it out into these
into SUVs and sedans.
SUVs and sedans. So they're both, top contenders in the luxury car world.
Yeah.
But they do it in
different ways.
such different ways.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they
So let's
hit that premium feel.
let's unpack that a little bit.
But through different philosophies, I think. Like, you see BMW really pushing electrification. I mean, across the entire lineup. They've got the new M5 coming out with that electrified V8
Right.
and the all-electric i5. And then they're still offering diesel
In some markets.
in certain markets. Yeah.
It's a big mix.
It is. And the reviews I've been looking at, they really talk about how they're honoring that performance heritage that BMW is known for, but they're also embracing the new tech, and they're not forgetting about passenger comfort,
Yeah.
especially in those flagship EVs like the iX and the i7. They're doing a lot.
Yeah. And it's interesting because on the Porsche side, even though they are also moving, more and more into electrification.
Yeah, with the Macan.
With the Macan, the Cayenne SUV.
Yep. And the Panamera.
They're still so focused on
Performance.
driving
driving experience. Like the 911, which now even have a hybrid version in the GTS.
Yeah.
It's still considered, the gold standard.
The benchmark.
And all the reviews just talk about that connection,
Mm.
that feel,
Yeah.
the driving dynamics that Porsche enthusiasts just
They
crave that.
I expect.
It's really at the core of
everything they do.
It is. And you really see that difference come through when you look at the head-to-head matchups between the two brands.
For sure.
Like, take the executive sedans, you got the 5 Series going up against the Panamera.
Like the classic matchup.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that a lot of reviewers are saying that BMW actually tends to have better reliability.
Well, that's interesting. Scores. Yeah. And a smoother, more comfortable ride.
Okay.
So they're potentially giving you more bang for your buck. And they often pack in more safety features, too.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, you've got the Panamera, and it just comes out swinging with that more powerful base engine, that striking fastback design. And it's got a very driver-centric cockpit.
Yeah.
You always hear about that thrilling acceleration and, how agile it is in the corners.
Right.
And you're paying for that sense of exclusivity, too.
Yeah.
And that more visceral driving experience.
So it sounds like, you go BMW if you want something.
If you're looking for
practicality.
Yeah.
And you want maybe a little more value for your money.
Yeah.
Porsche, you want to make a statement.
You want that performance?
You want that performance.
And that design.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, how about we shift gears and talk about the luxury SUVs? We got the X5 versus the Cayenne.
Yeah, the big boys. Yeah. And once again, Porsche really comes out on top in terms of handling. It's like they've managed to bottle that sports car feel and put it into a taller vehicle. And a lot of that has to do with their suspension tuning and the weight distribution. But, BMW isn't slouching. They often offer a better value proposition.
Right.
A more modern and tech-focused interior.
Yeah, their iDrive system.
With that iDrive infotainment system.
Pretty slick.
Which is excellent. And you might actually get better fuel economy with a BMW.
Okay.
And a more spacious cabin.
So that's like Porsche's really prioritizing sporty driving in the SUV.
Yeah, they want it to handle like a sports car.
While BMW is thinking more about the whole package.
The overall practicality.
Yeah.
The value. The tech.
Now, what about the compact SUVs?
Yeah. The X3 versus the Macan.
Yeah, the X3 and the Macan. How do they stack up?
It's a very similar story, actually. You've got the Macan, It consistently gets praised for how well it handles. It feels really planted on the road. The steering is sharp. And again, you see that sports car DNA coming through.
Yeah.
But of course, that typically comes with a higher price tag. The X3, on the other hand, often has more powerful engine options.
Oh, interesting.
Especially when you look at those M trims. And you get a more spacious interior with the X3, better tech integration, and it can be a bit easier on the wallet.
Right.
A lot of people point to the X3 M40i as like a performance bargain.
Oh, yeah.
But you know Porsche has that edge when it comes to build quality and brand appeal. You know they've got that cachet.
For sure.
So again, it comes down to what you prioritize. If you want that driver-focused premium feel, you lean towards Porsche. Yeah. But if you want a good balance of performance, practicality, tech,
and value.
Value.
You might be looking more to BMW.
You might end up in a BMW. Yeah.
Now we've got to talk about
the sports cars.
The sports cars. So we've got the Z4, the M2, the M4 going up against
the 718.
The 718 Boxster
and Cayman.
And
of course.
And then the big one.
The Big Daddy 911.
The 911.
So what are we seeing here?
Well, this is where Porsche's just laser focus on driving really shines through.
Okay.
Like the 718 Boxster and Cayman, they're always getting rave reviews for their handling. They're just so nimble and engaging to drive, especially compared to the BMW Z4, which is geared more towards comfort.
Right.
And that mid-engine layout in the 718 gives it a real advantage in terms of balance.
Right.
But the Z4 does have a more luxurious interior.
Okay.
And more user-friendly tech. You know it's got Android Auto,
which
is a big plus for some people. But the 718, it's all about the driving. It's pure driving experience.
Okay.
And then you've got the 911, the king. You know the pinnacle of performance and heritage. But it comes with a hefty price tag.
Of course.
BMW's M2 and M4.
Yeah. They bring a lot of raw power to the table.
Yeah.
They can be incredibly exciting to drive.
Beasts.
They are. But they might not have that same level of precision that Porsche drivers are looking for.
Okay.
So, if you want the ultimate driving thrills,
you're going Porsche.
You go 718.
718.
Or 911. If you want comfort, tech, and value, the Z4 is a good option. And then if you want just brutal power, you look at the M2 or the M4.
So we've talked about the specific models. What about just generally how these brands approach?
Those broader performance characteristics. Well, BMW has a long-standing reputation for engineering excellence. And their engines are known for being exhilarating, especially those M division cars. But even their more mainstream models, like the 3 Series, they can be really sporty and potent. And a lot of BMW owners, they really rave about how responsive their engines are. But there's this feeling among some enthusiasts that BMW is maybe shifting a little bit more towards luxury and tech, which might dilute that pure driving feel a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then you've got Porsche, and they're pretty much synonymous with high performance and luxury at this point. I mean, their engines, which are increasingly incorporating hybrid tech, they are known for their power. And the handling and agility of Porsche cars is just exceptional. And a lot of that is thanks to their focus on aerodynamics and their advanced suspension systems, like the Porsche Active Suspension Management. The PASM. And of course, the 911 is the ultimate example of this. But that dedication to performance, it's in everything they make. It's in their SUVs, which are designed to handle well both on the road and even on the track. I mean, their motorsport heritage is undeniable.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the inside of these cars a little bit.
All right, let's step inside. So,
what are we seeing?
BMW, they're going for that balance of modern design and user friendliness. They often integrate these big digital displays with physical controls for the important stuff. And their 7 Series, that's where they really showcase all their cutting-edge technology. But, I've seen some reviews of the 5 Series where they say that some of the touchscreen controls can be a bit finicky. It's not as straightforward as...
the fashion button.
There's physical buttons. And I think opinions are divided on how well BMW is balancing the digital and the physical. Now, if you hop into a Porsche,
Okay.
It's all about the driver.
Oh.
The cockpit is driver-focused. They use really high-quality materials.
Right.
And they do a good job of mixing those classic design elements with modern tech.
Yeah.
Like the updated 911.
Yeah.
It's got that digital curved instrument cluster, but you can still get that classic gauge view if you want it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while they are using more touchscreens in the Panamera and the Cayenne, they're still keeping some physical controls, which drivers tend to appreciate.
Yeah.
But, Porsche owners consistently rave about the build quality and the materials. They don't cut corners.
All right, so we've talked about performance. We talked about the interiors. What's the ownership experience like with these two brands?
Nitty-gritty of ownership.
Yeah.
Well, reliability ratings can be a bit of a mixed bag for both brands depending on where you look.
Okay.
But one thing is for sure. BMW maintenance costs are going to be higher than what you'd expect with a non-luxury brand.
Okay.
And Porsche maintenance, well, that's a whole other level.
Yeah.
It's just more expensive.
Okay.
Even routine stuff like tires and oil changes can really add up.
Yeah.
And owner experiences are all over the map.
Okay.
Some people have no problems. Others run into frequent issues that can be pretty expensive to fix.
Especially as the cars get older.
Yeah. But both manufacturers do offer extended warranties and maintenance plans to give you a bit more peace of mind.
So to sum all this up,
to synthesize our deep dive,
BMW, it sounds like they're the value proposition.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
You get cutting-edge technology.
Yeah.
A nice balance of performance and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a bit more practical ownership experience.
Potentially less expensive, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Porsche is more about that ultimate driving experience.
Yeah, the prestige of the brand.
Yeah.
The exhilarating performance. You get that, especially with their sports cars and the Cayenne.
Right.
But it's going to cost you both up front and in the long run.
And in the long run.
Yeah.
So really, it seems like it comes down to
your priority.
What you value as a driver.
Exactly. If you really want that mix of value and features and you're thinking about an executive sedan or a compact SUV, BMW might be the way to go.
Okay.
But if you're a driving enthusiast and you want that pure driving focus and you're okay with paying a premium for it,
you might end up
in a Porsche.
Yeah? Okay, Porsche.
But you know what? At the end of the day, they both represent the best of German engineering.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to our listener out there.
Yeah, to you listening right now.
It's not about which brand is better.
It's not about picking a winner.
It's about what you want.
It's about what you want out of a car.
What are you looking for?
Are you all about that latest tech? Do you need practicality? Or are you the kind of person who's willing to shell out a little bit more for that feeling of being connected to the road, that feeling of exclusivity?
Yeah.
Both BMW and Porsche offer something really special.
Absolutely.
And the right answer for you is a personal one.
It is.
So think about it. What really gets you excited about driving?
What makes you want to get behind the wheel?
Yeah.
And that's going to help you choose.
That's going to lead you down the right path.
All right. Well, on that note, thanks for joining us for the deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Until next time.
Take care.
See ya.